As we assess what happened in Sibos, Vienna to today, I see a number of different worlds that I wanted to speak about. First, there's the world of banks. We've gone through a year of traumatic change. Some banks have gone out of business. Others are weathering the storm and planning for future growth. We have had to cut hard and deep into our organization to offset financial losses. Life as a banker has been tough, where the focus of constant media attention, warranted or not, and not only media attention, panelist attention at our own events, on issues of trust, transparency, greed, risk, bonuses, you name it. This is a world of huge turmoil undergoing fundamental change. And then there is the world of SWIFT. Our little cooperative has continued to operate safely, securely, and reliably in the eye of the storm. This is a cooperative that we own and govern, and one we depend on to provide us with shared services that are core to financial resilience and transactions, fundamental to the banking system. And you know what? Your cooperative is far from being in a crisis. I am pleased to say it is in good shape, managerially, operationally, and technologically. So you might ask, what's new? And I'd like to say, frankly, not much. SWIFT's role is to make sure that the basics work. And I said in the Sibos issues, I don't expect SWIFT to create sizzle in our members' boardrooms. It's like the payroll department. If it doesn't work, you notice it. But otherwise, it just gets on with things. And in quietly getting on with things, it should bring us peace of mind. But in quietly getting on with things, perhaps it's doing itself a disservice. Perhaps it's not clear enough to many of us just how relevant the core competencies of the cooperative are, beyond the obvious ones of security, reliability, and availability. After the catastrophic events of last year and the credit crisis that followed, all of us were much more worried about risk. And risk has many dimensions in which SWIFT can play a mitigating role. For example, SWIFT helps us with operational risk, thanks to a resilient messaging platform. Counterparty risk, thanks to RMA, closed user groups, digital identity, so we know who we're dealing with. Settlement risk. SWIFT is an essential means to connect to a multitude of market infrastructures and gives you certainty through a range of reporting capabilities to and from these market infrastructures. And liquidity risk, to give you peace of mind to the questions of where is my money, what is my cash position at any point in time. And that leads me to another world which is important to me as chairman, the world of the SWIFT boardroom and how it's felt like over the last 12 months. Remember, your board is made up of experts who are both governors and practitioners. It comprises a very diverse group of talented individuals who've been going through their own journey of managing change and turmoil in the past year. And that hands-on experience has brought very much to the forefront in our discussions at the board meetings. A year ago in Vienna, we had an upbeat, future-focused meeting. We discussed initial business assumptions for 2009, and the market projections were optimistic. That was the day before the Lehman Brothers collapse. By December, though, the tone at the board was more somber. So we agreed to postpone all approved standard changes for 2009, except for a limited set of message types. As customers, this decision brought us considerable savings. We also endorsed other efforts from the SWIFT executive to minimize forced change within our own institutions. But by March this year, the economic situation was dire. Drastic scenarios were playing out in the marketplace, and for the first time ever, SWIFT's own traffic was on a downward trend. So as practitioners and governors, there was little appetite for anything new. Our message to the executive was, stick to the core. We don't know what's ahead. And by June, much of our discussion was about the steps being taken within SWIFT for structural cost reductions. But we did one more thing. We started discussions about SWIFT 2015 and how to develop the strategy in a highly collaborative and consultative manner. Which brings me to our board meeting of yesterday. Our focus continues to be financial and operational resilience, the core pillars of SWIFT. Now let's look ahead and talk about the future of your cooperative. To ensure that SWIFT aligns its energies with the customer's future expectations, the board and the executives are now working on a new strategic blueprint. So let me share some of my own thoughts. First, why don't we move more traffic from costly networks onto SWIFT? This is a fundamental question, and one that I've raised last year when I talked about SWIFT as a de facto shared service. Why do we pay for access and use to multiple market infrastructures when a more rationalized, integrated, or even merged approach may be a better proposition, both from a cost and an efficiency and connectivity perspective? Second, as expected, the business streams of the past will not be sufficient for the future. We need to rethink broadly and deeply about future opportunities and decide to either do them very, very well or not to do them at all. No hobbies. Third, I'm increasingly hearing that customers would like SWIFT at the table, and especially now that their economic environments are shifting drastically. Not everybody knows what the end game is going to be, but they would like SWIFT to help them as a partner. This is a big challenge because while the words at the table and partner sound good, both sides need to be clear on the expectations. On the SWIFT side, the executives need to be clear on the business outcomes and define the right engagement model. On the customer side, we need to organize ourselves to better speak on behalf of a voice that reflects the whole bank, the whole organization, and not fragmentation by line of business or region. In March 2010, our board meeting will be fully dedicated to SWIFT 2015 with a view to identifying concrete options for review in June and then final sign-off in September of next year. But 2015 sounds like way off. Many of us are trying to figure out what to do in 2010, 2011. Given that we are experiencing dramatic change at a rapid pace and that the uncertainty factor is huge, it is important that SWIFT sets clear near-term milestones and deliverables along its journey for 2015. These are very important times for your cooperative. Now more than ever, your voices must be heard. SWIFT is going out of its way to consult and engage. For those who participate, I believe the potential rewards are considerable.